Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organization. And DAOs have not really a great press in our ecosystem. When you listen to people, usually in the industry, they will tell you about DAOs is that they are not efficient. Sometimes they will even tell you that they are shady, less efficient than companies, and even some people consider it as a free buffet where you can do not much work and get a grant. And yet, this model that is quite new and quite native to the ecosystem is less than a decade old. And I think part of this reputation started because DAO started wrong in the Ethereum ecosystem. So very early, almost a decade ago in the Ethereum ecosystem, the idea, the primary mindset was everything gonna be a DAO. And we're going to make a DAO that will found every single DAO in the ecosystem. The name of that DAO was The DAO, and you know where this is coming. So in 2015, it was organized by a company called Slowkit, and in 2016, it raised 15% of all ETH, and in June, we got the DAO hack, and as a result, we got Ethereum Classic. So it became less popular at that point. And when you look at the industry, the main model are not DAO. The main governance model in the industry is take it or fork it. So recently, Ethereum got like a very important upgrade called Denkun with EIP 4844. And I don't remember having voted for it, but I have some heat. I have some validators. But the thing is that either you update your version of the protocol or you fork the protocol and you create a new ecosystem. Because assets, mainly in our ecosystem, are not governance assets, and there's no vote. And yet, outside of Ethereum and Bitcoin, which are a league on their own, what we consider when we look at the data is that DAOs are the most profitable and the largest protocols and application in the ecosystem. So Lido DAO, that many people know, Aave-DAO, MakerDAO, ENS, Aave-Chan, they are top 5 in this ecosystem, and they are all DAOs. So DAO may have bad press, but actually what we're going to talk about today is proof that it's actually a model that can scale and is efficient, and we're going to take Aave as an example. But before that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Marc. I'm the founder of the ACI, the Aave-Chan initiative. We are a delegate on the Aave DAO. And we are a service provider, so we are one of the company working for the Aave DAO. And if you already know us or want to support what we do and own some Aave asset, we will be honored to receive your delegation to aci.it. If we recap what happened for Aave in the past 18 months, it was extremely important period. It was an extremely important period for DeFi and DAOs in general, because that's when DAOs found the most product market fit. And if we take the Aave example, Aave v3 increased its TVL, so the newest version of the protocol, by 18x. The DAO revenue crossed $100 million annualized in 2024, recently, the past quarter, for the V3 itself, and $123 million in total. And the DAO net profit is now at $100 million per year, which is the second largest profitable DAO in the world after MakerDAO. So the figures are here, and how we reach that point is what we want to share today, and maybe our example will inspire others in the industry. So the first thing is that we cut aggressively unnecessary expense, and we restructure the organization of service provider. The service provider that were not performing enough were either not renewed or allowed to quit the DAO and leave the payroll. MakerDAO had a restriction period like this and is much more efficient now. And the cost went down from $25 million a year to $18 million. And as a result, we have increased focus and efficiency, because that's extremely important to optimize the DAO operation and to leave the mindset that a DAO should be a flat organization system. What is important and what we learned from the past years at Aave is that every healthy DAO will go through a decentralization path. And that's what we presented with the ACI last year at ACI. So you can find on our website the presentation of the 4th stage of the DAO. But we're going to do a small recap together. A healthy DAO will always start with very few proposals. Usually you have a funding team, a funding foundation, a lab that will take most of the decision, and they will still be in control. And a stage 1 DAO, a early stage DAO, it's very hard to distinguish from a company in terms of operation. But as the protocol grow and as the DAO mature, you will have a second phase where the funding team will be hands-off in terms of decision-making and give the power back to the governance asset holders. This second phase is what we know in the Aave DAO during the year 2023. You will have an explosion of governance. We will have a lot of proposals, and every single little decision will be decided by a vote, which is great in terms of decentralization, but which is terrible in terms of efficiency. The third stage, and where we enter with MakerDAO and Aave at this point, is that you will have specialized team, we call that service provider in Aave, that will have a scope, will be elected to do it, and will have an area of free execution within that scope that are defined by the token holders. And that's something I want to insist, and that is important for this presentation, is that we believe at the ACI that if decision-making is sufficiently decentralized, execution and engineering can be concentrated in a few designated specialized hands. And that's something that is important to break this mindset to say DAOs are not company, DAOs are completely flat. Yes, DAOs are not company, that's for sure. But the execution and the implementation of things around the protocol needs to be done by specialized hands if we want maximum efficiency. And this decision-making decentralization can be tested very easily with one simple question. Can the DAO fire someone? And if you take anybody from a protocol and you cannot fire him, you don't have the power, because it's a very simple and basic concept. If you are the boss, you have the ability to fire someone. At the Aave DAO or on the MakerDAO, you can take anybody, any service provider, and just cut their stream. Don't stop paying them, don't renew them. And if they want to work for free, they will do it if they want. But usually people, if they are not incentivized and part of the payroll, they will just leave the operation. And a stage 3 DAO reached that point where anybody, even the initial funding team, can be fired by the governance token holder. And when you reach that point, that's what we consider stage 3 DAO. And we have a checklist for that. The first thing is that your delegate, the one making the decision, should be decentralized and chosen by the actual token holder, chosen by actual people that spend some money and have skin in the game to acquire your governance token and have a vested interest in the success of the protocol. The second thing is that the protocol should be able to pay its own bill. And for that, you need to reach a specific amount of product market fit and to incentivize your delegates and make sure the DAO itself and not some VCs or some funding team are paying the bills. Otherwise, independence is harder to achieve. And the last thing is minimize governance. Because when you have dozens of AIPs, so in the Aave DAO concept, votes per month, nobody will be able to follow what you do. Because if you have 2 votes per day, everybody that is working a 40 hours a week job will not have the ability to track what is happening. So that's why specialization and service provider will reduce the amount of vote and increase the efficiency to what we call governance added value proposal. Focus on the votes that are the most impactful and important for the protocol and the DAO that will have the biggest impact. So how do we measure the Aave DAO success? We have a diverse set of incentivized delegates. So the ACI created a program called Orbit that will pay directly delegates and make them professional actors of the ecosystem, paid directly by the net profit of the protocol, depending on KPIs, so the amount of vote and delegation they have, the participation they have, so we have a tracker to do that. And anyone can and will be fired if they are subpar. And that's why we created a system and an ecosystem where performance is expected and encouraged by the system itself. And that's a big difference and something that I want to point out. An efficient DAO cannot slow rug compared to a traditional company that will raise the amount of money, or some project that did an ICO and raised 2,000 hits. They already have the money. So they don't have downside of not executing or not delivering what they do. In an efficient DAO, if you are a service provider and you are underperforming, your stream will be cut and you have an incentive to actually perform. So another thing that you should look for the success of a DAO in terms of decentralization and decentralized decision-making is the diversity of the opinion. If your DAO is 100% yes vote all the time and everybody is just a puppet saying yes to everything, that's usually not a great sign. But it's not binary. It's normal that 90 or 95% of the decision of a protocol are not controversial and doesn't create a lot of debate. But this ability to generate debate and generate discussion within the DAO are both expected and welcome in decision-making if you want an efficient DAO and a decentralized DAO. And Aave-DAO is the second most active DAO in the world, just after Aave-Chan and just around the MakerDAO. So let's do a recap of what the stage we reach and what are the current status of the Aave-DAO. The DAO is net profitable and ready to redistribute revenue. So the product itself found product market fit, has a net profit, use that net profit to cover the service provider cost and this revenue to cover service provider cost and create a revenue on top of that. The Aave-DAO is one of the top ranking revenue maker of the industry, alongside Bitcoin obviously, Ethereum obviously, and MakerDAO. Governance is structured by solid framework. So there's a clear idea and a clear expectation of what should happen for any kind of decision. What are the different way to do things and how it's organized. We have professional compensate delegates through the Orbit program that was created by the ACI, funded by the ACI, and now it's an official Aave-DAO program. And the governance itself value diversity and independence. And you don't have any single actor with more than the quorum or the ability to concentrate the decision making. So now that we presented DAO in general and the Aave example, it's time for us to talk about the next logical step for the Aave-DAO. That happened in the past 2 weeks, so it's brand new. We created with the ACI the concept of merit, which is a new program that redistributes the DAO net profit to growth and revenue. Because the DAO is profitable, we incentivize through the merit program the action that are the most beneficiary for the protocol. Usually protocol in the blockchain ecosystem will do incentive by subsidies. And what we learn from history of the subsidy is that they are great to start, but if you create a system that only rely on subsidy, usually it's not great in the long term. So we replace all kind of subsidy with actual incentive that come from net economic activity of the protocol. So where does the yield come from in the merit ecosystem? It's if you already use a credit card, you know it works actually. Because the DAO is making a profit on every single borrowers, but only the borrowers of ETH and Go, which is the Aave native stablecoin, are rewarded. So every user is contributing, but only some of them that are making the most interesting and the most profitable action for the protocol are rewarded on this. And we had a program that allowed a lot of users to come back into Aave through the merit program, and other protocols are net borrowers in Aave and contributing directly to the merit ecosystem. The Go merit budget, we're going to go quickly on this, is paid by the DAO revenue with the Go stablecoin itself, around $5 million for 40% of the world budget, and the rest is financed by the other stablecoin borrowings. So it's a system that only uses net profit and is sustainable for the long term. The DAO voted for merit for the next 90 days, but the mindset was to make it a permanent program. So we shall see what the people vote in the future. It's funny, this slide, it's obviously 3 birds with 1 stone, otherwise it will not be very efficient. But the 3 success factor of merit is it increase Aave attractiveness, incentivize user behavior that are the most profitable for the DAO. It killed some vampire layers that were existing on top of Aave, and it was very successful at that. In 10 days, 30% of layer 2 on top of Aave that was not synergical left this protocol and went back into Aave. And it prepared the grounds for the fee switch. And that's the next topic we're going to talk about together. Fee switch is something that is very popular in crypto at this point. There's been a lot of discussion around Uniswap. On Aave, there's no concept of fee switch or no need for fee switch because from day one, the Aave protocol is actually making a revenue. We have the concept of reserve factor, so everybody that is borrowing on Aave are paying part of the interest fee directly to the Aave treasury, and the Aave treasury made already more than 8 figures of revenue. What we consider the fee switch in the context of the Aave DAO is the profit sharing. So how do we switch the revenue distribution to the actor of the DAO? So the current stage is that the Aave revenue is strong and growing. 2023, as I said earlier, was a very good year for the Aave DAO. The net profit is 5x the current DAO operational cost. And there's no remaining bottleneck preventing stakers from being rewarded by net profit. So what is the situation right now? We have the concept of the safety module, which is staking on Aave, that currently represents $500 million of deposit. The current net profit is $100 million. So basic math, if all the profit were distributed to the safety module right now, the net APR will be 20%. All of that paid in ETH, well, wrap ETH for smart contract reason, and Go, the stablecoin of Aave. What we propose at the Aave DAO is to have a consensus solution. So in between the current situation, which is distributing 0 and distributing everything, we have a proposal that we are sharing here today and will reach the governance forum in the next few hours, that proposing a consensus solution and stay long-term oriented. The first thing is that the safety module is currently subsidized by the Aave asset, which is the governance asset of Aave. We propose to stop that as soon as possible and completely to 0, to distribute 0 Aave native asset to the safety module and replace that 100% with ETH and Go yield. And Merit was testing the ground for this, and Merit was a good success. So we think it's the next step to do that. And the current cost is on the screen. I will not detail everything, but to say it's shortly, it's around $36 million per year if we want to maintain exactly the same yield than now. So this is the proposed project that we will share to governance this week. And we want to start what we call the real yield era of the Aave DAO and of DAO in general. Cut all Aave distribution and subsidy and create only yield on the safety module from net profit of the protocol. This proposition will leave $45 million net profit buffer to make new investment. And we know that bull markets are not forever. So most likely at some point the market will correct and the revenue will go down. So it's important to keep a buffer, and that's our proposition. What's next for the Aave protocol is the next big thing for us will be the Crush and Go. So Go is the native stablecoin of the protocol, and stablecoin are great and part of the future of decentralized finance. But do we really want to pay $20 transaction fee to pay a boba tea? I'm not sure that's very efficient. So the future of that is layer 2 stablecoin usage. And the way we design this, and that's something that is currently being voted on by the DAO, is to use the infrastructure of CCIP from Chainlink, so cross-chain interoperability protocol, and have collateral on layer 1, where there's the most security and the most liquidity. We have around $10 billion in Ethereum layer 1, and allow people to mint their Go directly on layer 2. What we propose with the ACI is to start with the Aave-Chan network, the Aave-Chan layer 2, which is one of our largest layer 2 network, and start it with merit. So allow people to get incentive and a safety module on layer 2, so it's more accessible to everybody. And couple that with the hard reward incentive program. So that's the next big step, and that's quite exciting for us. Thank you for your time. That's all the time I have for today. If you want to catch up with what we did at the ACI and want to follow what we do, we will be more than happy to have you visit our website, Aave-Chan.com. And we will be here all week. And if you want to discuss, that will be an honor to meet you guys. I want to say a special thank to Erica and June for organizing everything. That's our first conference in Korea, and it was an honor. Thank you.